This is actually one of the main issues I see in people's gameplay when I review VODs. I think a lot of people think that their blade flurry is a bigger range than it actually is. Even if you are playing def maneuvers, I guarantee that you're not properly aware of the mobs you're in range of hitting. This is why there is a simple but critical weak aura that I use that helps me always be aware of my proximity to mobs. And here it is. You can see this little number. It's changing based on how many mobs are in range of my AoE attacks. And I promise once you start paying attention to this, you will see damage improvement. This weak aura is linked in the description of the video. You can also find tons of other helpful weak auras and macros for Outlaw in my Discord, also linked below. On to the next point. Next is your APM, or actions per minute. What does this mean? Well, actions per minute includes all your actions cast in a minute. So damage abilities, grapple, AR, kick, even casting a pot, etc. Outlaw is a very fast-paced spec where you will often have windows of no energy starvation, and you need to be very reactive to know exactly what to press every single global as soon as a global is available to press. This also goes for being able to press non-global abilities like AR and kick during your globals, meaning don't stop your damage to kick or you will lose damage. An issue I see in people's VODs is them thinking a little bit too long on what to press next, resulting in less actions per minute cast and resulting in less damage. So essentially, you need to get good at spamming buttons, but spamming the correct buttons, and this comes with practice on Outlaw. Once you get your rotation down in your head to be nearly instinctual, APM will come with more and more gameplay. Just be aware of the downtime you're spending between and within globals on actually thinking what to press. So this one will probably be the hardest for people to accept and change, but your keybinds are probably a huge reason you are not doing damage. This ties into the previous point of APM. If your damage buttons are not easily accessible while moving or pressing CC, your APM is definitely lacking, and so is your damage. Now, a little personal example. I used to use the traditional 1 through 5 keybinds for my builders and finishers, and I was pretty content about it. I was really used to it, and I did not think that there was a better way to keybind my abilities. Like, it was set in stone for me. And then I met this super good rogue who opened up a whole new world of Outlaw for me. He told me that he binds his damaging buttons to Q, E, R, X, Z, V, etc. So essentially everything not 1 through 5. And I was really shocked. I was doubtful, but with an open mind, I decided to spend a day switching my keybinds and sitting on a dummy to practice my new setup. And literally within a few hours, I could tell the difference. I could feel that this was so much better because I was still using WASD to move, and having Sinister Strike, Pistol Shot, Ambush, Between the Eyes, all of that closer to my movement buttons allowed me to dodge mechanics better and do so without losing any damage. Back when I had 1 through 5 keybound, I was definitely feeling a bit awkward moving my fingers down to move, while also trying to press my damage buttons. Another milestone for my rotation, flow, and damage was getting a 12-button mouse. Outlaw has a ton of keybinds, especially with Dragonflight, and I find it super useful to bind trinkets, CC, utility to my mouse. This way you don't have to use any weird Control, Alt, or Shift binds on your keyboard. And I believe that the less your fingers have to work on the keyboard, the easier it is not to mess up damage, mechanics, etc. So this is a mouse that I use. I love it so much. I've gotten it twice. Like one time it got super worn out, so I got it again. Usually I buy it on Black Friday because it's way cheaper, but it's unique from other 12-button mouses because it has a different physical touch to each row. So or rather each column, so your thumb can easily feel which column you're on and which button you're on, uh, instead of the typical mouses that have just the same texture on every single button. You can see here it's like some are smooth and some are not smooth, so just get this mouse. Like, it's the best one ever, I promise. And in my guide, which is linked below, I explained all of my keybinds in detail, why I choose them, and why I think it's helpful. So check that out if you're interested. I'll scroll a little bit here, but I mean, if you want to read this in depth, you can. Yeah. Planning your damage. This is a huge one, and there's a lot that goes into this. So people often don't think about what's coming next in a key, or maybe they just don't know, but either way, it results in you either holding damage too long or sending it too soon. And just because your abilities are up does not always mean that you should send them. So for example, on the last boss of Temple, you may want to hold Dance or a Trinket for the ad phase, since that is usually the hardest part of the fight. And another example, if you're finishing up a boss and you have a big pack coming up, you may want to hold your AR even if the boss is 20-30 seconds from dying, and you technically would get a full value from sending it. There are even situations where you hold your roll the bones and attack a dying mob or a boss for 10 or so seconds with no rolls so that you get good value rolls on your next upcoming fight. So Outlaw is like chess in a way. You always just have to think a step ahead. Don't monkey brain, send all your damage all the time. But there's also the opposite situation where you can be holding your damage too long at the end of a pack. Again, depending on what's coming next. I think people often are unaware of how long it'll take for a pack to die, and they might sit on AR a little bit too long when they could have sent it and gotten full value. Same thing with Between the Eyes and Trinkets and all of that. So really just trying to squeeze out as much value from your damage in a key in terms of getting as many uses of AR and Dance and Trinkets, but also knowing where it is important to hold it so that you could get bigger damage value from holding it. Another big one is Between the Eyes. And this comes with key awareness, again, but if you are anticipating a target swap like the last boss of Ruby Pools in Phase 1, you may want to be more mindful of your Between the Eyes management, meaning don't send Between the Eyes off cooldown on one target and then not have it up for the other. And final point, probably the most important one, is planning better for Dance and Vanish windows. Your Dance window is essentially your burst window, even though Outlaw doesn't really have a burst. This again is a huge issue I see in people's VODs. The rule for Dance and Subterfuge is essentially you want to only hit Ambush and Dispatch during these windows. Meaning you need to try your best to have all of your rotational buttons on cooldown, so you ideally don't want to press Blade Flurry, Between the Eyes, Blade Rush, if it's an AoE pack, etc. during Dance, or else you are wasting precious globals in your burst window. You also want to try not to press Dance or Vanish when you are starved, just because you probably won't get a lot of globals in. You will have to either pull your energy or have Blade Rush up to press for an energy boost before entering Dance. Okay, people are not gonna like this one, I already know it, but it's true. Let me elaborate. By too much CC, I generally mean pressing the wrong CC. So I often see people pressing full kidneys on mobs that just need one stop. So a gouge or a blind would have sufficed. And if you're sending 5 to 7 combo points on a kidney, then you're just losing a lot of damage for no reason when you could have used gouge that is a builder actually and good for your rotation, or a blind that's a quick global. But you actually can press too much CC, and sometimes I see people in VODs pressing stuns and blinds when it really isn't needed, and you should try, if you're in voice, to communicate with your tank and your group when they need something stopped, because often they will just stop it themselves, and you really don't want to overlap because you will lose damage. And another issue with CC is swapping off of your target for CC. This is where focus macros come in play. You must have focus macros for kick and blind and gouge and stun, etc. This will make your life a lot easier and your damage a lot higher. Again, in my guide, I explain how this is done if you're wondering how to set up a focus macro. Essentially, you should just never swap off of your target for CC, and this will be a very big quality of life improvement. Here's a summary, good luck, and have fun.